You know what nobody tells you about the assets in your IRA or 401k? For almost all Americans, it's just paper investments.
So I started looking into something outside the usual options, something tangible, physical gold.
Do you investigate for yourself? Here's all you have to do. Text the word America to 989898, and my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group will help send you some free info on gold. Text America to 989898 right now.
1 in 4 kids grows up without a father. That's not just a bland statistic. It's a national crisis. I'm John Popola, host of Dad Saves America and CEO of Emergent Order Foundation. I like to say we're what it would look like if Warner Brothers and PBS had a baby that actually loved America. We're building a movement that defends the family and calls men to step up, not check out. Visit dsa-rav.com today to take a stand for fatherhood.
Governor Gavin Newsom's former secret lover has a big, long piece in Vanity Fair detailing her relationship with the governor. And interestingly enough, Gavin Newsom is not the only California politician that does not look good in this. Also, President Trump mandates a hilarious sign be put outside of the Smithsonian. Chicago may, in fact, eliminate all crime with their very, very innovative new strategy, and the Biden tapes are out, and they are not good. All that and more coming up on this episode of the show. My name is Jobob. Thanks so much for tuning in. The show starts right now. I read the entire Vanity Fair piece of Governor Newsom's former mistress, and I feel icky. Like, I feel it's a very tawdry piece. It's among the articles I've ever read, it is the more juicy. It feels like I never read the 50 Shades of Grey books, but I would imagine that's what this article is like. It's very, woman oriented, a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions, very sensual. I don't really read things like that, but this one I had to because of the political implications and because I like making fun of Governor Hairspray, who presides over the poopiest state in the nation. Really interesting insight into that. Again, Gavin Newsom is not the only person in California politics that looks really, really bad because of this. But before we get into that, I got to remind you, tpt@tpusa.com is the email address. Please send along your thoughts, comments, concerns, even criticisms. All are welcome in our inbox, tpt@tpusa.com. You can also scan the QR code that comes up at the end of the segment or at the beginning of the segment. That QR code will take us to our sponsors, turningpointtonight.com, where you can check to see if you're registered to vote. You can find us on social media on all of that. You can send us an email, like I said, tpt@tpusa.com, or leave a comment. And if your emails and or comments are gross, vile, disgusting, and nasty, the chances of us reading it on the show actually increase dramatically, because that's exactly the sort of thing we do here. Now, speaking of vile, disgusting, and nasty, Governor Newsom, it's no shock to anybody, no surprise, not new information, had a very public affair when he was the mayor of San Francisco with his best friend's wife. Is that a Me Too thing? I feel like that's a very much a Me Too thing. But there was a big, long piece by the former secret lover, Governor Newsom's mistress, in Vanity Fair. As I mentioned, very, very tawdry, very 50 Shades of Grey reading through it. I feel icky, but of course it's necessary. Now, I'll say at the front of this, I don't buy the timing here. I actually think this is a preemptive output of information. I think it's no shock or surprise to anybody. This is not a secret of any kind that Gavin Newsom is 100% running for president. And I think that his former secret lover, former mistress, best friend's wife, all the terrible things, actually still agrees with a lot of the ideology and the policy of Governor Newsom, and maybe not necessarily an explicit coordination, is working to put this out there sooner than later so that they can point back to it when it inevitably comes up in either the primary or the general election and say, no, we've already addressed this. The reason I think that is because obviously she's a lib, but two, she published this in Vanity Fair. It's not Vanity Fair, in case you're not familiar, is not a conservative right-wing outlet by any stretch of the imagination. And the tenor of the article very much implies, except for the end, which is actually very interesting, implies her saying, well, this was my fault. These were my problems. Now, the only thing, and producer Glenn pointed this out, this is actually a good point, is that what the libs have effectively done here is they've eliminated their lib swap out. This could have been the big breaking story that they could have used to swap Governor Newsom. Say he won the primary or was winning in the primary, in case they needed to knock him off the pedestal, as libs do in their defense of democracy. This could have been a great asset for them. Now, that's the only downside, I guess, for them with this stuff coming out early. Everything else is politically advantageous, and they've effectively they should have saved this in case of a lib swap out was necessary in order to protect democracy. Anyways, the entire article, as I mentioned, very juicy, very seductive, very sensual, has the framing of this lady, Ruby Rippey, is saying, well, this was a tough part of my life. I was in a deep place and I was trying to get back on track. And a lot of this, she effectively said, was my fault. She doesn't necessarily implicitly say that, but the way that she frames everything is, I kind of led this on. I kind of spurred this relationship. It's kind of my problem. Now, her and her husband, who again is Governor Newsom's campaign manager / best friend at the time, were working on the campaign when then Mayor Newsom came into San Francisco's office. They came with him and started working in the office. Now, she says throughout the article that, well, she would more or less stalk Gavin, effectively. Again, this is all in the implication of this is like, it wasn't his fault, it was my fault, and it was my personal demons that I was fighting. She even says in it that she describes it not as about love or romance. She describes it as another form of intoxication during her struggles with alcohol and cocaine, fueled by proximity to power and the feeling of being chosen. Oh, it feels like she's taking responsibility, probably, like I said again, because she agrees with Gavin on things and doesn't want to tar and feather him too much. Here's the problem, though. Not all of the article is like that. Actually, there are several details that are embedded in the article, kind of seen as just, this is just a detail. This is not necessarily the emotional tie here. This is just kind of happened. But actually, those things really imply quite a bit. In the article, she says this: one day, I was told my office had been reassigned. The mayor wants me at the desk outside his door. Well, that certainly implies that Governor Newsom maybe possibly instigated something. I was going through a tough time, and these are the ways that I coaxed him into this affair. But also, prior to any of this happening, he assigned me to his desk and made sure that I was attached to everything. She goes on to say she should scan his schedule and kind of show up and make sure he saw her. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean she's the sole party responsible. It takes two to tango, and also takes two to, form the bear with two backs. Whatever, clean version of that there is. Governor Newsom also, she says in this Vanity Fair article, said this at an event in Northern California. He says, "Hey, you look really good. You've lost all your pregnancy weight," which is another odd thing to say. But regardless, Governor Newsom went out of his way to compliment her on her looks. Okay, so he becomes the mayor. In the whole, you should go read the article. Send us an email if you want to see the article, or we'll send you a link to it. It's Vanity Fair. It's about a 30-minute read. It's not short, but we'll send you the article because, again, if you like the 50 Shades of Grey thing, first of all, good luck in eternal damnation. Second, it's very, very juicy. So, all of that being said, back to kind of the timeline. Gavin Newsom becomes the mayor of San Francisco in 2004. The affair allegedly starts in 2005. Allegedly. Why am I saying? I'm used to saying allegedly, but all of this actually happened. After about a year of all of this, she entered rehab in May of 2006, and then in 2007, she actually confessed the affair to her then husband, and that's when all of the fireworks start flying in terms of whose fault, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. You probably have seen this clip already, but given the fact that we're into the timeline component of this, I want you to watch Governor Newsom's press conference about the affair that was now breaking in national news. Watch this.
Thank you all for coming here in short notice. Want to make it clear that everything you've heard and read is true. And I am deeply sorry about that. I've hurt someone I care deeply about, Alex Turk, his friends and family. And that is something that I have to live with and something that I am deeply sorry for. I am also sorry that I've let the people of San Francisco down. They expect a lot of their mayor.
And the last part there is the only part I take exception to. I kind of think this is exactly what the people of San Francisco expect from their mayor. Honestly, the only problem that San Franciscans had with this is the fact that neither one of them were dressed like furry puppy animals, or there was only two of them involved. I think that actually would have made it more acceptable to the people of San Francisco. Anyways, here's where the timeline makes sense, or at least gets interesting, is because she admits to her husband in January of that year. That press conference happened February 1st. In other words, after all of it had happened. Now, libs would love to point to this and say, well, the governor has taken full responsibility. Actually, this press office, both the governor's office and his personal spokesperson, said the governor has addressed this and has nothing further to say on the matter. The thing is that he didn't say anything until after he got caught. And not even then. He didn't say anything until after it made national news. What his press team was probably doing in the month that he had from when the husband knew about it, confronted him, then resigned, and then he did the press conference was, okay, how big is this story going to get? Can we keep it under wraps? That's what I would like to do. At least that's what Gavin wants you to think he did, especially when you look at what Ruby Rippey said in the Vanity Fair article about Newsom's office in January of this year. I know we're jumping all over the place, but in January of this year, when Governor Newsom was set to put out a book, what was it called? Like Young Men in a Hurry or something like that. Ruby gets a call from Gavin's press office. It's basically to say, this is a courtesy call, heads up, you're going to be in this book. Now, she has a couple thoughts about this in the article. Again, I encourage you to go read it yourself. But what I thought was really interesting is when she writes this in the Vanity Fair piece about that call from Governor Newsom's team earlier this year. She says this, he, Gavin, also writes that he was the one who came clean to Alex, her then husband. That detail, subtle but significant, is the one that still stays with me. It reads, at least to me, she says, as a version of events that gives him credit for something I had already done. Which, it's classic Gavin. It leaves an unmistakable impression that he, not I, was the one who told Alex the truth. Lo and behold, Governor Newsom appears to lie in his book, saying, I took responsibility, I'm the one that fessed up to him, except for the fact that that appears to be entirely not true. It appears that Ruby Rippey went to rehab, came out of rehab, confessed the affair to her husband. He confronted Governor Newsom, and now Governor Newsom writes in his book, I actually was the one that broke the news to him. But who is shocked by any of that? Now, believe it or not, there is one other prominent California politician that doesn't look good, actually really looks bad, and I think this is being overlooked at the moment, and that is Kamala Harris. Yes, Kamala Harris herself played a role in all of this at the time. Now, I'll tell you what that was, but first, I got to tell you about Live On Labs. You've been hearing me talk about it the last couple days. I kid you not, I take supplements all the time. You should take supplements. Yes, of course. But are they getting absorbed into your body? I can tell you there is a difference. I've been taking supplements. I'm no stranger to supplements. I know that a lot of people in the supplement industry try to flavor it a certain way, try to make it look really cool, try to do all of these commercial branding things. And in reality, I'm never sure if it actually works. With lipospheric technology, which is what Live On Labs uses, It's like this goo. We got a couple emails like, oh, it's like this little goo that you put into water. Yeah, it is. It is weird objectively, but it's weird because it works. I tell you, I've been taking magnesium for a long time. I've never taken lipospheric magnesium from Live On Labs. I have, and there is a noticeable difference. Honestly, with like half the dosage, which just makes me believe the fact that lipospheric absorption actually works. It is a patented technology. Live On Labs, family-owned American company. You can also get 15% off of Live On Labs if you'd like to make sure that your supplements are actually being absorbed by going to liveonlabs.com using the promo code JOBOB15, JOBOB15. Get you 15% off of your entire order. Actually trust that your supplements are being absorbed into your body by going to Live On Labs, getting pretty much, the vitamin C is a great one. I'm a big fan of the magnesium here, but really everything is great. It gets absorbed into your body, not just makes expensive toilet water. Liveonlabs.com, 15% off with code JOBOB15, JOBOB15. Okay, Kamala, how is she involved? Well, she comes in for a kickin' when the Vanity Fair article talks about her involvement with Ruby Rippey at the time. Okay, so affair gets put out. It's national news. Newsom comes out, addresses it. She gets a divorce from her husband. Things are going crazy. But also, too, you got to remember, this affects people's financial well-being, their employment opportunities. At the time, she says, I was broke and I was unemployed. And quite frankly, she doesn't say this, but unemployable. She writes this, quote verbatim, about Miss Harris soon after Kamala Harris calls. I know her from the Brown administration. I wonder if that, I'm curious. So Willie Brown, if you're not familiar with this, Willie Brown, she knew Kamala Harris from the Willie Brown administration. I wonder why they might be talking about this affair type of situation. I don't know. It baffles me. Anyway, she knows her from the Willie Brown administration. She is now the district attorney. I tell her people are urging me to speak publicly. A publisher has offered an advance for a memoir. She says, I am broke and unemployed. In other words, at absolute rock bottom, and could probably benefit greatly from the advance on a memoir of a story this big. She then goes on to say, Kamala says simply, I wouldn't say anything right now, Ruby. Just pause. In other words, encouraging, in my opinion, a victim of a high-powered individual having an affair in the workplace, Kamala Harris saying, you probably should stay silent about this. It appears to me that Kamala Harris blatantly and overtly tried to silence, in my opinion, a victim in this situation, which would make Gavin Newsom not the only prominent California politician in this story that looks really, really bad. It looks like Kamala Harris did her best impersonation of Hillary Clinton and tried to silence a woman who should have probably, for lots of reasons, but also financial reasons, told her story. Isn't that just not at all surprising? I'm sorry, it's just not. Everybody in this story ends up looking bad. Ultimately, I think this will come up later on in the presidential race. I think there's a lot more baggage here, including lots of other things that cannot necessarily be confirmed, but those of us who've worked in California politics for a while are well aware of. And their attempt to get out in front of it, which I think this is, probably won't do the entirety of the job. Or at least one could hope. tpt@tpusa.com is the email address. If you'd like to send along your thoughts, comments, concerns, even criticisms, all are welcome in our inbox. Scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you to all of our social media platforms. Go support our sponsors, Live On Labs. Again, great absorption of the supplements that you're taking. You want that, you can find that at our QR code. Also, our social media accounts. I think I said that already. And the QR code is going to come on your screen like now.
Body and mind. When one shows up without the other, the moment's stalled. Our country is under attack.
The America we know is at risk of not being that way.
The radical left wants to destroy America.
We're not going to let that happen.
The younger generation needs you to stand up and lead.
It's an inside-out strategy.
This is more than an organization. This is a movement.
We're here to save the country.
AMAC is a family, over 2 million patriots strong.
I am an AMAC member, by the way.
AMAC gives you the training, resources, and tools to be a citizen soldier.
Each one of us can make a difference, and that's what AMAC shows every day.
Plus, real benefits like travel discounts, insurance, and Medicare guidance. We are stronger together.
Our rights don't come from government. Our rights come from God.
RAV family, let's stand with AMAC.
To extinguish all the evil that we see around us.
Scan the QR code right now or go to amac.us/RAV and let's take our country back together.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
My name is Kyle. I'm with Real America's Voice because we can chat with each other, the host, even management. We are the RAV family, and we're better together.
I'm Andy M., and I love Real America's Voice, where my voice counts and your voice counts. That is America's Voice.
I'm Patriot Mermaid, and I'm from West Haven, Connecticut. When the mainstream media wasn't giving us the truth, I went and looked for the truth and found it on Real America's Voice. Come and join us. Come on.
Now we are in the borderline between Poland and Belarus. We want to go Poland, but they don't let us. And we are in the forest and it's very cold and it's raining. We cannot build a fire. We have children here. They will be dead in the morning, really. And we need help. And it's very cold. My wife is sick. We need help. We want to go Poland. Tell them. They don't let us. They said if I go to Poland, they will hit me or they will kill me. Really? I'm going to Poland, maybe Germany, maybe somewhere to have a good life.
My suggestion would not to go to Poland. Have you considered, Abdul, not going to Poland? Just a thought. He says all these bad things are happening because I'm trying to go to Poland. It's raining. Kids will clearly die the next day because of the rain, which is a new one. I'm not sure if that's realistic or not. His wife is sick. All of these bad things are happening to him because he's trying to go to Poland. My suggestion, don't try to go to Poland. Just a thought. Go somewhere else. The Poles don't want you there. I wonder why. I wonder why the third worlders aren't welcome in Poland. Also, this is probably entirely unconnected, but Poland is one of the safest countries, if not the safest country in all of Europe. I don't think those are related at all. Anyways, my suggestions are don't go to Poland. Short and simple. All right, hey, speaking of Poland, this is kind of interesting. We're revamping the format just a little bit. Here's a video I saw there. It was just related to this, so I felt like it might be worth putting on the show. A group of Muslim migrants tried to illegally cross into Poland, and here's what happens. Awesome. It's great. It's just, that's what we should do that here. Actually, we should take a look at the Polish border and try to mimic our border after it. Now, that's, less relevant when President Trump is already effectively doing a lot of this. But yeah, good suggestion. You know what you're doing with videos like this? You're signaling to the rest of the world, come in if you can legally, but also, no, you're not going to break through the fence. You're going to be face down on your stomachs in the sand and getting a one-way trip back to wherever a stand. And adios, bye-bye. Well, they don't do that in Poland. They're more of like, I don't know how you say goodbye and assalamu alaikum. That's not what it is either. Whatever. Bye in Arabic, I guess. Okay. When there's lots of points to get to, we are contractually obligated to get to those points. And boy, are there a lot to get to today. It's time to get to the point.
Get to the point. Get to the point.
What was the term we got yesterday? Spam Danny? Spam Danny. But then the problem with that is, like I said, I, as a Polynesian person, think of literally spam, like the mystery meat in a can. So that I get what I get the name, but I don't know if it's applicable, especially with my perspective on it. But this from Fox News. Let's see. Zoman Kwame Mamamdi sparks fear of violence after doxing wealthy New York City property owners. Outright dangerous. Okay. So if you've been following this, Zamdani not effectively, put out a list of all of the people that would have a pied-à-terre tax, which is a second property home tax in New York City. So they effectively tried to levy this tax, which should be totally illegal and on top of that, completely unworkable. And they then published the addresses of everybody into a searchable database identifying affluent property owners, and I use the quote terms there because several people in this list, as we'll talk about in just a second, just have a home and have had a home there for a long time, and due to increasing property values in New York City, the communists there would deem them affluent. A searchable database identifying affluent property owners who could be subject to the city's new tax on a second home, which obviously, considering the fact that libs are, especially the communist libs, are extremely violent, could pose a very dangerous threat. Now, I wanted to bring this on here, not graphically, but read this from somebody responding to this whole thing. Said this last week, this guy, and I didn't confirm this, but this just kind of seems like something that, one, I don't think you would just make up, but two, totally plausible. He said, last week my mom got a pied-à-terre tax notice. She has lived full-time in her townhome for 30 years. She and my dad bought it for under $1 million. She has no other residence and yet was hit with a second home tax. Is New York City not bothering to do basic checking on its own tax list? He then says she's 81 and has 3 weeks to get her name off the list, or she owes $56,000, which is crazy. Like, first of all, the tax on the second property, let me know when Bernie Sanders pays that, because he's got 3 of them. He's got 3 properties, one in D.C., one in Vermont, and then he's got a lake house. Very nice lake house, by the way. Let me know when the other communists start paying that around the country, and then you might say, wow, it's specifically New York City. No. Same rules apply everywhere. If you want it done in one place, you want it done everywhere, and so you probably should be beholden to your own stinking rules. Anyways, considering how violent the left has proven to be, this is outright dangerous. It is outright dangerous for the mayor of New York City to put the names and addresses out there of searchable people online who may have just lived there their entire lives and seen property values increase, which again is also the city's fault in a lot of ways. The fact that, like, what was the statistic the other week? Like 45% of dwellings in New York City are rent controlled, which of course restricts the supply for the free market, which jacks up housing rates. the fact that they're like now targeting these people, one, with tax bills, but two, potentially being targeted by violent communist lunatics, is a huge problem. Hopefully everything remains sane. I wish that was the track record for libs when they disagree with things. Speaking of libs and speaking of violence, actually good news coming out of Chicago. This could completely eliminate all of the crime in Chicago. I think this might actually work. New signs intended to deter crime to be posted on Chicago Transit Authority buses and trains. God, why didn't anybody think of this beforehand? Sure, there are violent homeless schizophrenics stabbing people in broad daylight on the buses and trains. Have we considered putting a sign telling them they shouldn't? How am I the only one that thought this would? Of course that would work. Violent, homeless, schizophrenic drug addicts always look at and read and obey signs. This only makes sense. They even put out a video showing two ladies who I guarantee you have never taken public transit in their entire life, putting the signs up in the trains. Watch this.
We are putting up these signs as an indication of what the consequences will be of any criminal actions on the CTA. We are hoping to deter crime and to encourage people to come forward in their witnesses of crime.
These signs are a message to all of our riders and employees that we are working together with the County State's Attorney's Office to take action and ensure and promote a safe ride on the CTA.
First things first, has anybody heard of a microphone? Like, put the mic a little bit closer to your face, especially if you're on a violent, noisy subway. Second, I can't see this not working. This, to me, seems like a foolproof plan. Look, the signs say violence on the CTA will not be tolerated. The Cook County State Attorney's Office will prosecute and seek pretrial detention for all violent offenses on public transit. Yeah, people are going to read that sign and then not break the laws anymore. That's how human beings work. Just put up a sign that says do not, all of the shoplifting, you don't need to lock up the products. Just put a big sign up that says shoplifting is illegal. Then criminals will read the sign and go, shucks, well, I guess I can't shoplift here. There's a sign. It's clearly posted at the entrance of the building. This should totally 100% work. You know, on second thought, though, you know what actually might work better is actually doing the things that the sign says. I think if you just prosecute, you don't actually have to put up signs. You can just be rest assured that it's implied that you can't commit violence on the subway. And if you prosecute those, the signs seem irrelevant. I don't know. One of the two things will work. Either prosecuting, which may or may not happen, will actually eliminate crime, or maybe people will read the signs and then decide, you know what? I've decided to turn away from my life of crime and be a productive, contributing member of society. Speaking of productive, contributing members of society, San Francisco, where there are very few, you know, let me preface this by saying I brought this story up not because of the specific story, but because I have a very brief thought on robo-taxis or self-driving cars. San Francisco mayor backs national robo-taxi rules after Waymo meltdowns. So Waymo, if you don't know, is a fully self-driving car. The mayor of San Francisco backed a proposal in Congress to reel in any unruly autonomous vehicles, especially during their run-ins with first responders. Okay, basically what I think here, which is interesting, is you're kind of like seeing the autonomous cars drive around. Elon Musk is promising that Teslas will be able to like drive people and be like a car service. When I look at stories like this, in terms of practicality and in terms of the way people think and behave, there was a big accident with Waymo. I think it was like yesterday. And I also think it was in Los Angeles. Waymo, self-driving car. The Waymo was not responsible at all, right? The Waymo was driving, and then another car hit another car, and that car hit the Waymo. But all of the news stories were self-driving Waymo involved in an accident. I actually think that human beings are going to be much more willing to put up with accidents caused by humans at a higher frequency than singular accidents caused by autonomous vehicles. That, I think, is going to be the direction of this. Like, for example, if take out vehicles, right? If there's a dangerous job and, people are injured at this job semi-frequently, but it's of their own doing. It's the, mistake made or some, whatever. We've learned as a society to kind of, that's just kind of what happens. Like, some things are dangerous, some things are more or less dangerous. Okay. The second a robot is involved in the injury of a human being, that is a big no-no. And I think that this is like this intrinsic human thing that I think a lot of us feel, but not necessarily have verbalized as of yet. So with that, I actually think in the long term, the self-driving thing will probably not be as big of a concern or problem as we all think. But that's just me. That's just my thought. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. tbt@tpusa.com is the email address. I want to get to this last one really quick because we promised it and teased it on here. This from CBS News. Trump orders sign placed outside Smithsonian Museum warning of inaccurate information. I love this. I think this is hilarious. And I also think it is a very good political stunt. We've talked about political stunts on the show. There's a lot of political stunts that go on all the time. This clearly is also a political stunt, but very few of them are actually successful. The one that stands to mind that everybody deems a successful political stunt is when Greg Abbott started shipping a bunch of illegals to lib cities like New York City, just like got them loaded on buses. Then DeSantis put them on planes and sent them to Martha's Vineyard. That is a political stunt, but it's a political stunt that absolutely worked. This, I think, is one of those too. President Trump, in the face of all of the libs saying, no, the Smithsonian's museums are totally accurate, totally nonpartisan, says, no, they're not. And we all know. Every single one of us know. So President Trump ordered federal officials to install signs outside Smithsonian National Museum of American History that correct what he says is inaccurate information presented by the Institute about American history. I love that. I love it so much. And if there is a master of political stunts, it's President Trump. I can't wait to see those outside of buildings. We'll bring some photos to you if and when they do come. All right, hey, tpt@tpusa.com is the email address. Go ahead and scan the QR code. It links us to everything we're doing. You can leave comments on social media. You can go check your voter registration. You can support all the sponsors of the show. Scan the QR code that's going to come onto your screen right now.
One in 4 kids grows up without a father. That's not just a bland statistic.
Our country is under attack.
The America we know is at risk of not being that way.
The radical left wants to destroy America.
We're not going to let that happen.
The younger generation needs you to stand up and lead.
It's an inside-out strategy.
This is more than an organization. This is a movement.
We're here to save the country.
AMAC is a family, over 2 million patriots strong.
I am an AMAC member, by the way.
AMAC gives you the training, resources, and tools to be a citizen soldier.
Each one of us can make a difference, and that's what AMAC shows every day.
Plus, real benefits like travel discounts, insurance, and Medicare guidance. We are stronger together.
Our rights don't come from government. Our rights come from God.
RAV family, let's stand with AMAC.
To extinguish all the evil that we see around us.
Scan the QR code right now or go to amac.us/RAV and let's take our country back together.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office,
do
tonight about former President Joe Biden. Today, roughly 70 hours of recordings of an interview he did with a ghostwriter in 2017 before he was president were released over Biden's objections. Senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang joins me. Weijia, what do these tapes tell us?
Well, Matt, the newly released audio shows that in 2017, when former President Biden was writing a memoir, he told his ghostwriter on several occasions that he had classified documents in his possession. Biden can be heard saying, "I just found all the classified stuff downstairs," in reference to volumes of notes Biden kept in his home. He also said, "Some of this may be classified, so be careful." Biden, who fought for years to keep these recordings private, would later publicly criticized President Trump for his handling of classified documents. We asked a spokesman for Biden for a comment about the new tapes, but he said they don't have one. Matt.
Weijia, thank.
She missed a perfect opportunity. Now, she's not going to make a joke, but there was the perfect opportunity for a joke there when the first setup question, Weijia, what have we learned that the president said in these recordings? Thanks, Matt. He said, "We're better have a care, true under dash, double to pressure," and all of the other nonsense things that he kind of muttered out of his very addled mind. I don't know, maybe get him next time with the joke. But that's actually a perfect lead-in to what we like to do here when officials have official business. Now, I know Biden is no longer an official, but he was. He was a very powerful official in U.S. politics. So with that, it is time for official business. I'm going to play this as long as we can tolerate it. This is a clip from these 70 hours. Now, to my understanding, at least up to this point, not all 70 hours have been completely made public. Now, I could be wrong. By the time the last time I looked at it, it could have changed. But this is at least part of it. This is a 2-minute clip. I can't imagine we're going to do the entire clip. But just so you get... I was going to say, just so you get the understanding, you already understand it. Everybody already knows exactly what this is going to be. But I guess nostalgia prompts me to play as much of it as we're able to tolerate. Watch this.
Probably summer of 2014. So she already said that.
Yeah. I've been working it real hard. And the other thing, I was through the month of November working real hard on had we passed ACA, had we
that looks like 2013.
Yeah, this is 13.
Okay, so just hold on. We're going to pause it right here. I'm at 11 uhs or ums. I've been keeping track. I don't know why that's... Whenever we play the big long clip, I think to myself, what are we going to keep track of? All right, uhs and ums. We're at 11. There's 30 more seconds of this. What do you think the over-under is on additional uhs or ums? I guess not additional because that'll kind of... The total number, if we're at 11 right now, in the next 30 seconds, do we get to 15? Let's just 30 more seconds of this. Can we get to 15 ums? And is that a good line to set the over-under at? Let us know. TBT at TPUSA.com. We need 4 more.
110, 14. Okay.
So that's still a year or too early.
No, this is 15. That's what I'm thinking here. Actually,
there's 115.
Yeah.
you're so close. 14 uhs or ums. Man. I am equal parts entertained and unbelievably concerned that guy had the codes to the nuclear weapons. Hoo-wee. That's all we're gonna get to. That was long enough to where we can't. Which is a shame because we got a bunch of other clips that are quite interesting, especially in the day of Fauci. We'll get to them. Clips of the clip clean out. Those will get played. So, but that's it, man. I would have bet the over. I thought I said 15 as the line to be like fairly low. But I actually think the more prominent thing was the negative space. The just long nothings. That was, I think, the interesting part. You know, aside from all of the stuff that he like admitted to crime-wise, I guess, I'm sorry, we didn't even get to that. He admitted to a bunch of crimes of like, I found a bunch of classified documents. That was when, remember Robert Hur said, yeah, we're not going to charge him. I mean, he definitely committed a ton of crimes, but he's also just an addled old man who also is the president of the United States. Holy cow. All right. I mean, that's all we have time for official business. TBT@TPUSA.com is the email address. Got a really, really interesting Take That Tuesday coming up for you. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go away.
The gun grabbers are licking their chops. If they seize Congress in November, they've already promised.
Our country is under attack.
The America we know is at risk of not being that way.
The radical left wants to destroy America.
We're not going to let that happen.
The younger generation needs you to stand up and lead.
It's an inside-out strategy.
This is more than an organization. This is a movement.
We're here to save the country.
AMAC is a family, over 2 million patriots strong.
I am an AMAC member, by the way.
AMAC gives you the training, resources, and tools to be a citizen soldier.
Each one of us can make a difference, and that's what AMAC shows every day.
Plus, real benefits like travel discounts, insurance, and Medicare guidance. We are stronger together.
Our rights don't come from government. Our rights come from God.
Rav family, let's stand with AMAC.
To extinguish all the evil that we see around us.
Scan the QR code right now or go to amac.us/RAV and let's take our country back together.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Howdy, Rav fam. This is Warbringer here. Love you all. Rav is the only place to get the truth, and this is the only way we're going to be able to restore our republic. Love you all. See you in the chat.
My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
32 of my 35 students between two classes failed a portion of their midterm because they all used AI to generate their entire response. And apparently they didn't proofread it. Let me show y'all how I picked up on it. So this discussion post was a portion of my students' midterm, and if you look, it looks normal, right? But if you copy and paste this and look closely, in white ink, I hid, placed the word Madagascar somewhere in the response in a way that makes no sense.
That's a good idea.
If you uncopy and paste it, you can't see it. So, if Madagascar was somewhere in my students' response in a way that did not make sense, I knew that they copied and pasted the entire thing and just threw it in AI. And oh my God, you would be amazed at the bizarre usage of the word Madagascar that I saw in these students' assignments.
I think he goes on later in the video to talk about this was a paper on the Industrial Revolution, which I think is probably hilarious. He was probably reading the Industrial Revolution, which, yes, produced more things, but it unfortunately took the economic power away from women at the time, which caused probably feminism, which again is a rabbit hole, a deviation we don't necessarily need to go down. But then, Madagascar lemurs were... You think the AI did the Madagascar movie, or just Madagascar as an actual tangible place? That's brilliant, though. Putting the little white and then you just copy paste. I mean, it sucks. It sucks that 90% of students are cheating, but also it's a very clever way of finding that out. Okay, hey, we don't have a ton of time to get to. It is Take That Tuesday.
Take That Tuesday. Fired up, we don't play. It's Take That Tuesday.
I think this probably needs almost zero introduction. This is a Bill Clinton campaign commercial that fits in so perfectly with Take That modern socialist communist libs. Watch this.
New generation of Democrats, Bill Clinton and Al Gore, and they don't think the way the old Democratic Party did. They've called for an end to welfare as we know it, so welfare can be a second chance, not a way of life. They've sent a strong signal to criminals by supporting the death penalty, and they've rejected the old tax and spend politics. Clinton's balanced 12 budgets, and they've proposed a new plan investing in people, detailing $140 billion in spending cuts they'd make right now. Clinton Gore, for people, for a change.
How do we run against that? How do we run against that kind of a lib? Because that commercial could flip the name, flip the years, and put President Trump's name on it. That's incredible. That's great. President Trump supports the death penalty. He wants to cut whatever $140 billion in wasted spending. That's a conservative commercial. How do we get back to the libs being that? Now, that doesn't mean I'd vote for him still. I'm not saying I'm going to switch sides and go, well, a moderate lib like Rahm Emanuel thinks that the government should run efficiently and we should have borders and all of the things in that Clinton commercial. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I would rather compete against that because we could push the Overton window back to the right. Bernie Sanders, I think, won the libs. He didn't win presidency because, the defenders of democracy took that away from him. But he did push the Overton window so far to his side. He effectively has been the winner of the libs over the last 10 years. And that's not good for anybody, but I just wonder. That's a 1992 commercial. That's 34 years ago. And look how far to the left the libs have gotten, which is crazy. How can we... That's the nostalgia that I want. Bring back the Bill Clinton libs, not the... You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about the person, the individual, but their ideology that they thought would be a good way to get votes. Bring back normalcy is, I think, what I'm saying. Okay, tpt@tpusa.com is the email address. Go ahead and scan our QR code. It'll take you to turningpointtonight.com where you can check your registration to see if you're able to vote. It'll get you to all of our social media platforms. You can leave comments on there as well as email us, tpt@tpusa.com. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
The gun grabbers are licking their chops. If they seize Congress in November, they've already promised.
Our country is under attack.
The America we know is at risk of not being that way.
The radical left wants to destroy America.
We're not going to let that happen.
The younger generation needs you to stand up and lead.
It's an inside-out strategy.
This is more than an organization. This is a movement.
We're here to save the country.
AMAC is a family, over 2 million patriots strong.
I am an AMAC member, by the way.
AMAC gives you the training, resources, and tools to be a citizen soldier.
Each one of us can can make a difference, and that's what AMAC shows every day.
Plus, real benefits like travel discounts, insurance, and Medicare guidance. We are stronger together.
Our rights don't come from government. Our rights come from God.
RAV family, let's stand with AMAC.
To extinguish all the evil that we see around us.
Scan the QR code right now or go to amac.us/RAV and let's take our country back together.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Howdy, Rav fams. It's Warbringer here. Love you all. Rav is the only place to get the truth, and this is the only way we're going to be able to restore our republic. Love you all. Be in the chat.
My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
Nothing I can do. It doesn't take a crystal ball to see. A cowboy always finds a way to leave. Drinking Jack all by myself. He's choosing Texas, I can tell.
All right. I don't hate this, but I also don't love it. This is clearly a response to Nixon maxing that we talked about last week. It's like Nixon is making a resurgence. But I like George Bush. Not the biggest fan of George Bush and everything that he did, but generally speaking, net positive in my mind. I'm not buying it with this. Nixon maxing is a thing specifically because of the current political environment that we were in during Nixon's tenure and we are in now. So that's why Nixon maxing is a thing. Also, I don't know if Bush maxing is a good term to use. I don't think we should be Bush maxing. That sounds like a 1970s adult film title. So now we're in trouble. Now we're getting an HR email. I'm sorry. That's why Nixon maxing is a thing. Bush maxing not currently a thing. TBT at TPUSA.com if you like to beat anybody who would get me in trouble for that joke. All right, let's just move on. We're going to talk. We're emails. Thank you for emailing the show. TBT at TPUSA.com. Mark, regular, emailed about the sponsor, Live On Labs. Big fan. Says, looks like goo from a science experiment. Correct. And it effectively is. It is a science experiment, and it is an effective one. They say it themselves. It's weird, but it works. Mona, it's a regular emailed about her husband. She says, my husband used to do a little stand-up comedy too. Best time I had laughing was in Arizona at a cafe. No one was laughing, and it made me laugh so hard to watch. Great night, LOL. Yeah, no, that's great. Sometimes when you're bombing in your stand-up career the first time, it's the worst thing in the world. Maybe someday I'll tell the story about the first time I bombed at a big venue. It was actually a TPUSA event, and I came off the stage drenched in sweat. It was so nerve-wracking. And now, if people don't laugh at jokes, it's great, actually. Paul, frequent correspondent, emailed a letter grade for Trump's White House Correspondents' Dinner speech. I said, Trump's White House Correspondents' speech didn't bomb. I agree. And also, too, like, it's more about the quality of the jokes rather than the reaction of all of the snobs in the room that already hate him. Says, didn't bomb, but it wasn't great either. I'll be gracious and give it a C+. Okay, fair. Teach his own. I think for what it was, I think it's an A+. But again, not necessarily from like a stand-up comedy bit, just from like a guy telling people how it is. All right, hey, TPT is the email, tpt@tpusa.com. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. God bless America.
Hi, I'm Ben Cozy. Isn't traveling a pain in the neck? You're cramped, uncomfortable, and forget about
Our country is under attack.
The America we know is at risk of not being that way.
The radical left wants to destroy America.
We're not going to let that happen.
The younger generation needs you to stand up and lead.
It's an inside-out strategy.
This is more than an organization. This is a movement.
We're here to save the country.
AMAC is a family, over 2 million patriots strong.
I am an AMAC member, by the way.
AMAC gives you the training, resources, and tools to be a citizen soldier.
Each one of us can make a difference, and that's what AMAC shows every day.
Plus, real benefits like travel discounts, insurance, and Medicare guidance. We are stronger together.
Our rights don't come from government. Our rights come from God.
RAV family, let's stand with AMAC.
To extinguish all the evil that we see around us.
Scan the QR code.